Hello guys, welcome to Online Web Tutor. I am Sanjay. We are learning Level 8 Framework tutorial. This is our part number 108. Inside this video, we will see the concept of custom facade class inside Level 8. So before going into the deep of this topic, first of all we need to understand that what is a facade class. So let me give you a simple example to understand about the facade class. Suppose we have a container. Inside that container means that container consists of the multiple classes, multiple objects, multiple namespaces. Now if we want to access any of the class, any of the namespace, any of the package from that controller, we need something. So simply Facade is going to provide an interface. It means Facade is a class. By the help of that class, it provides an object access from that container. By the help of Facade class, it is going to provide a mechanism. By the help of that mechanism, we can get an access of the object from that container. And simply now we can access the classes, namespaces, means everything from that container. So inside this video, we will see a concept, that is how can we create a custom facade class. So for this topic, we have an article over this blogging website. So if we go inside this blogging website, click on blog, click here on the search icon, and simply if I type facade, press enter. And here we can see that we have this article. So click on this article link. This article is totally from scratch. It will demonstrate you that how you can create a custom facade class in Laravel 8. This article is totally from scratch. It means application installation up to, let's say, application testing. So if I scroll down, here we have some theoretical concept. So if we want to create any custom facade class, we need to extend this base class like facade from eliminate, support, and facades. So before creating any custom facade, we have to follow some steps, and these are those steps. Let's say we need to create a PHP file. Next we need to bind this PHP class file. It means inside that PHP file we can create our own classes. We need to bind that class inside our service provider. That service provider, either we can create our own, means custom service provider, or simply we can use the Laravel app service provider. Next, if we have created our own custom service provider, so first of all we need to register that, and we will do via app.php. And then next, as I told you that if we have decided to create any custom facade class, we need to extend this base class. And finally, after completing all these steps, we need to register our facade, and we will do inside this app.php. So first of all we need to create a PHP class file. So here we have the link or documentation. So what I will do, go to editor. There is no specific folder to store our custom facades. So what I will do, go inside this app. I will create a folder inside that. So let's create a folder with the name called support. You can choose any name of your own. So inside this support folder, let's create a PHP class file, that is my string.php. Now this is a PHP file. We need to create a class inside it. So PHP, first of all let's include this namespace because this class will be from, so namespace, and it is from app and support. Now next we need to create a class. So let's say class name is myString. Inside this class we need to create few methods. So for example, for this video we have already a method inside this class. So what I will do, I will copy this method, go inside this class and pasting it here. You can create your own methods. So by the help of this slugify method, it is taking a string value and simply it is converting, by all these steps, it is converting that string value into a slug value. So successfully now we have created our PHP class file. Now next, we need to register or bind this PHP class file into a service provider. If I back to blog article, bind PHP class to service provider. So as we had discussed that we have two options. Either we can use the Laravel default provider, that is app service provider, or we can create our own custom service provider. So at the first stage, let's say that we are going to use this app service provider. So where we can find this provider, simply go inside this application, app, providers, and here we can see that app service provider. So inside this app service provider, we need to bind this class inside this register method. Go here, app service provider, simply I will copy this code which is from, let's say, inside this register method. So before that, let's import that class. So use myString, and this myString class is coming from app and support. This support folder we have created. Go inside this register method and simply I'm adding these lines of code. This is only the name. By the help of that name, actually we are registering our PHP class into service provider. And in the second value we have a callback function, and from this callback function we are returning an instance of our PHP class. Back to article, scroll down. So here we have the second option by using custom service provider. We will see soon. So if I scroll down, next we need to create a class that extends facade. As we discussed that if we want to create a custom facade, first of all we need to extend the base class, and this is the base class. If we extend this base class, it is going to provide a method access, that is get facade accessor. So simply this is the name, let's say myfacade.php. You can choose your any name. So I will prefer this name, so I will copy, go inside supports folder, means support folder, and inside this folder I am creating this name. This is a facade file. So if I go inside this article, copy the whole code, go here and pasting it here. So inside this third number line, this is all about the namespace of this my facade class, which is from app and support. And simply, as we know that we need to extend this base facade class, so we need to use, and here simply extends. So after extending this facade class, now we have the access of this method, that is protected static function get facade accessor. And look at this string value. This is the string value what we have used the same value while registering our PHP class into service provider. This string value and this value will be same. Now back to our article, scroll down, and finally we need to register our custom facade what we have created with the application, and we will do by the help of app.php. Inside this app.php, we will find our aliases array. Inside that array, we need to add this line. So simply, if I will copy this line, go inside this application, go inside this config, app.php, and inside this app.php, we can see we have an aliases array. At the footer, I will add that. Simply, by the help of this alias name, we can access our custom facade. So my facade, and this is referring to this my facade class what we have created inside support folder. You can choose any name here, let's say my facade sample. This is just a alias name to use. So I am referring my facade. So all we have done, if I back to blog article, now we need to create some methods and use what facade we have created. So if I go to application, let's open all about our routes folder, web.php, and inside this web.php, let's create a method route get, and inside this the route will be something, let's say custom slug. We need to create a callback function for this route, and inside this Let's say that we have a string value that is welcome to Laravel tutorials, and we want to create the slug of this string. Now we are going to use our custom facade class, and as we know that this is the facade class what we have created, and this is pointing to this string value and it's a label. By the help of that label we have registered this PHP class. Inside this PHP class, here we have the method called slugify, and we can use that. So inside this web.php we will use this alias, so my facade scope resolution operator, and we will use the method called slugify. So if I will copy, pasting it here, and inside this simply we will pass this string value. Let's start development server. So back to terminal, php artisan serve, pressing enter, application is started. So let's open into browser, and if I type the URL called custom-slug, pressing enter, and as we can see inside this output the string is now converted into a slug value. So this is how can we create a custom facade class. Now if we compare this concept with the theoretical concept what we had seen, so simply as we can see that by the help of this, means this is an alias name, we are simply exposing our facade, and by the help of this custom facade what we have created by extending this facade class, means base facade class, it is giving us a object access, means my library. We can say that this is an object access of this PHP class. So what we had discussed that a custom facade class is going to provide a object access from a container. So this is all about using app service provider. Now let's say that if we want to use the same concept by creating our own service provider, so simply first of all we need to create that. So if I back to blog article, go at the top, so here we have by creating custom service provider. So here is the command. I will copy back to terminal. So inside our artisan command palette we have also a command to create our custom service provider, that is php artisan make provider, and next we need to pass our provider class name. So here is the command php artisan make provider, and this is only the name for the testing. So simply when we press enter, provider created successfully. If I go to application where we can find that provider class, go and reload, so app providers, and inside this providers folder as we can see here we have testing facades service provider. Now we have to use the same concept what we had done this with app service provider. Simply we need to import, let's say use my string, this is the PHP class. Now next we need to bind, so simply this app bind method, and inside this we need to pass a label, let's say my library, need to create a callback function, and inside this means by the help of this callback function simply we will return an instance, and that is the instance of my string PHP class. All we have done. Let's comment these lines from app service provider because we are not going to longer use of this app service provider. Instead we have created our own. So this is our custom service provider. We need to register that service provider first inside this application. So go inside this app.php. Inside this app.php we have the first array, that is providers. So inside this providers array simply we need to register our testing service provider, so app providers, and inside this providers we have testing service provider. All we have done. Instead of using app service provider we have created our own service provider and bind with this PHP class. Now save all these changes, go here, reload this page, and let's start our development server. So PHP artisan serve, go and reload, and as we can see that we are getting the same output, and this time we have used the concept of custom service provider. So this is the article, guys, means step by step, which demonstrates you to create custom facade class in Laravel 8. So for this video session, guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.